Welcome back to Kiesel News, everybody. To start today off, I would briefly like to talk about the Dr. Disrespect situation. And I say briefly because I don't think there's a whole lot that I can add to it. He has been officially banned from Twitch and banned from the company that he helped fund, all for talking to a minor. Was it worth it, Dr. Disrespect? Now, obviously, Dr. Disrespect is in the wrong here. Talking to a minor in a sexual way is not forgivable at all. But this incident specifically, I don't know why it's such a big deal. Like, I'm kind of getting tired of hearing about it. It's all that the drama channels are talking about right now. And frankly, there's not much to the story. He talked to a minor inappropriately. We don't even know a lot of the details about the situation. Not that it would make it any better or worse, but I just mean in terms of an interest factor. All in all, though, at least I won't have to hear from Dr. Disrespect anymore. I've always been annoyed by his ass, and now we just have an actual reason not to support him. I do feel bad for the victim, obviously, though. I'm not at all trying to make this situation just about, oh, I'm so tired of hearing about this type of shit, because it is horrendous. I don't know, like, does it really need this much coverage? I'm gonna stop being a hypocrite and not cover it anymore, but that's basically the reason why I haven't covered it, is because there's nothing really to add. It's just Dr. Disrespect living up to his name, but instead of him being the doctor, he needs to go see a mental doctor. On a lighter note, Shrek 5 is on track for 2025, and a Donkey spin-off movie is in the works. I cannot wait to go see an official Shrek movie in theaters for the first time when this comes out. But as for the Donkey movie, I do question what they can really do with the plot. I could see them going a pure comedy angle, especially for their first real spin-off aside from Puss in Boots. But I could also see them just doing a complete 180, and this is like the biggest character drama that we've ever seen. We discover like 50 extra layers to Donkey's character. As for if it should be a prequel or a sequel, I think sequel is the best way to go, as you could just have several flashbacks if you wanted to go into more of his past with Lord Farquaad or whatever. I don't think a full prequel is necessary. Now, we're talking about Shrek here, so I think any Shrek fan has some level of sanity in their brain, aside from the people who watch Shrek brain rot videos, but I really hope if we get a Donkey movie, it doesn't turn into a discussion of, oh, they got rid of the white male lead for a black lead. Like, Eddie Murphy has always been a lead in the Shrek films, guys. Next up, we have confirmation that David Fincher is still developing an English-language Squid Game remake. That's all that a lot of the news outlets are saying, which seems pretty pointless to me, like, oh yeah, this project that you heard about, it's still happening, we have no new information, but, it's still happening. That's pointless. But there is some news articles that are mentioning that it now has a writer, being Dennis Kelly. Now, I'm skeptical of any writer, even if it was my favorite writer of all time. Even if it was fucking Vince Gilligan, I'd be skeptical of a new writer coming in to write this, because you're calling it a remake. If it's a remake, it should follow virtually the exact same plot. You shouldn't, I think, need a writer. If you want to do a translator or localizer as a role, that's fine. But why a writer? Are you changing the plot? I mean, I'd prefer that's what they do. We don't need a regurgitation of something and just Americanizing it just because it was popular in Korea, so now we have to make it but with white people. Like, we don't need that. But if we're going to do an American Squid Game, make it a canon spin-off happening alongside the Korean games, because we know the games are happening in other places around the world. But just call it a spin-off show. Nobody 2 is finally confirmed to be releasing on August 15th, 2025, guys. Interestingly, this will be the 3rd year anniversary of the end of Better Call Saul, August 15th. That's kind of funny how that works out, huh? We also have the director confirmed, which is Timo Tjahjanto. I really hope I pronounced that right. And the interesting thing about him is most of his filmography is horror-based. So are we going to be heading for a more horror-based Nobody 2? I could unironically see that working. Even if it doesn't deal with spirits or any of the typical horror shit, even just having a horror director could help with the violence. The movie already resembles John Wick, but Nobody 2, I think, could maybe even blow John Wick out of the water in the eyes of the general public. As long as the movie doesn't go for style over substance and still has a great story like the first one did, I think Nobody 2 is going to be a sequel better than the original. I do wonder what happened to the original director, though, as basically everybody else from the first movie is returning. So I hope there was no bad blood or anything with the original director. There was likely either scheduling conflicts, or they planned to take this second movie in a wildly different direction, which could hint at a potential horror angle, but we will see. A whole bunch of actors and directors will be getting stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and I wanted to give my brief thoughts on some of them. So first up is Bill Nye. I don't know. I don't know if he deserves a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I mean, he's not really known for being in Hollywood, right? He just had Bill Nye the Science Guy. That's basically all he did. Nia Long was in the Cleveland Show and a black remake of Uncle Buck, so automatic yes. Jane Fonda's been acting for so long, I think she deserves it for that alone. Another actor I think who deserves it who is not on here is Donald Sutherland, who just passed away, and I mentioned that he should get one, but I was a fool. He already has one. He got it in 2011, so there is something right with the world still. Colin Farrell, obviously, yes. Molly Shannon, I was looking up, and the most interesting thing about her that I can find is that she's in a movie called The Layover, which has a 0 out of 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. Didn't even know that was fully possible. And also, Hotel Transylvania, the first one, only has a 47. I thought everyone liked that movie. Alan Cumming, an obvious yes, because he was in Son of the Mask. I did not know that that movie fucking existed. They made a sequel to Mask, but jokes aside, he was in X-Men movies and the Smurf movies. I don't know if that alone makes him Hollywood Walk of Fame worthy, but Son of the Mask definitely does. John Carpenter and Robert Englund definitely deserve Hollywood stars, I would say. I mean, their contributions to horror are so immense. Same with Jessica Chastain. I mean, I can't think of movies that she's in off the top of my head, but she's definitely an actor that you know, even if you're not into movies. And Trey Parker and Matt Stone, creators of South Park, yeah, I think that holds up. Although it is kind of ironic that South Park is getting honored by Hollywood after everything that they say about it, right? We should get an episode on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. There's my pitch for you guys. Cartman becomes a professional movie critic and begins a hit list of all the actors he wants to kill, and they all happen to be on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I don't know, man. Next, we have a little teaser for the Dogman movie. Now, I doubt that this is an actual shot or anything from the movie, because this is not the art style that I was anticipating, but it does confirm that Little Petey will be in the first movie, assuming they make more than one. And that's actually kind of surprising. I figured that maybe they would test the waters and just adapt the first 2 books or something, but the more that I think about it, I don't know if you could get a full feature film out of the first 2 books. I mean, the first book is basically 4 short stories, and the second book alone doesn't have that engaging of a plot. The third book is really where it gets interesting with Little Petey anyway, so I'm glad that he'll be in this movie. Next up, we have 4 new cast members that have been cast in One Piece Season 2. I can't even do my usual dissection of all the actors, though, as all these actors are very, very small time, it seems, as I don't know essentially anything that any of them are in. Not that that is immediately a bad thing by any means. It shows that they're going for people that look like the characters, instead of just looking for some celebrity clicks, like the Mario movie, for example. Even though the Mario cast ended up doing a great job, they clearly were just picked for their celebrity roles. The only actor here is David Mastelchain, that has had previous roles that I'm aware of. He just played minor roles in a whole bunch of superhero movies, such as The Dark Knight and Ant-Man. But other than that, yeah. I think they nailed the live-action casting in terms of looks. All the actors look pretty much identical to their animated counterparts, with the exception of the last one, but I think that's just a case of them having entirely separate hair colors. Lastly for today, we have a little story straight out of the Renaissance, where a church is selling plots of land for $100 in heaven, claiming that they were given permission by God to do this. Now, the reason why I say this is straight out of the Renaissance is, one, it's back when the church was at their most manipulative state, and this is fucking manipulative as all hell, even though you are a dumbass if you fall for it. But that's another reason why it's connected to the Renaissance. During the Renaissance, people were dumb as fuck. They didn't know how to use reason yet. They just went along with whatever they were told. And anyone who falls for this is doing that exact same thing. History does in fact repeat itself. Now we just need Martin Luther. We need Martin Luther 3. First we had Martin Luther, then we had Martin Luther King. Now we need fucking Martin Luther King Jr. or some shit. Okay, never mind. One last thing that I feel the need to bring up. Why are a whole bunch of influencers doing real-life Hunger Games stuff now? We have Ice Poseidon, we have Kai Cenat. I know the new Haymitch book and movie were just announced, but these projects have been in the works before that announcement, when the franchise was on a massive hiatus. So I could see if one person thought, alright, let's do real-life Squid Game, because they're out of ideas, right? But the fact that multiple people are doing it, I don't know how it became a trend. Anyways, what I really wanted to talk about is how Ice Poseidon is going to use real fucking guns. So if this is going to be on Twitch or Kick or whatever the fuck platform it's on, probably Kick if they're using guns, I just question if that's allowed. I guess if it was on Kick it would make sense. Place your bets though, are people going to die during this Hunger Games stream? I guess we'll find out. Maybe a Twitch stream would finally be entertaining for once then.